Guys, we're going to be starting the show off. We want to welcome you to episode 4 of The Flow Show with my boy Danny Monzo. Danny is a social media strategist, and you've been here in Jacksonville for how many years now?
Well, it's been already, wow, it's going to be 15 years.
15 years.
This September, so yeah, just a little over 14 years.
Okay, and so this episode, guys, we're going to be talking about social media strategists and creating websites, creating content, creating engagement. I've watched Danny probably for the last 2 or 3 years. We actually connected at a networking event one time that you mentioned.
Well, actually, I don't know if you remember, Miguel, but we actually met down the block at Barnes & Noble.
There was the one time you told me that we met,
And
then
you
there's a
might
time
not
that
remember
I
that
don't
time,
remember that. No,
but
no.
I do remember you because I remember your approach was on point.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was back then in a company that was doing some recruiting, and I was taking some mental notes from this guy for sure.
Well, so you mentioned that a long time ago when we got together, and then when I saw, I think you had a shirt on and you were reading a book, and we just it was inside of Barnes & Noble again for a second time then.
Yeah.
We caught coffee, and then we just got to know each other a little bit better. You told me a little bit about your wife. I was telling you about my family and my business.
Yeah.
And then it's been at least a year.
It's been a while, yeah.
Since we caught up with each other. Yeah, it's been at least a year.
Yeah.
So guys, you guys are going to be watching a live organic thing, just kind of catching up. But for these people who don't know, tell them where you're from.
Well, originally I was born in Colombia, South America. I grew up in New York City. I lived in New York for 15 years before moving to Florida about 15 years ago.
Okay, so you're now 30?
I'm a little older than 30. I'm not as young as this guy looks.
No, please.
But let me just take a parenthesis, and I want to commend you for the type of content that you're creating,
for the
type of impact that you're making here in the community. I've been following you as well too.
Okay.
And taking some mental notes. You're a young father, something that I haven't signed up for
just
yet.
Well,
but yeah, just wanted to congratulate you on
Well, I appreciate that because I got a vision, and Flow really came to us as organically. We were just talking about this. You just press record. I mean, I've had conversations like this with entrepreneurs for years and never pressed the record button, and there's so much content that was lost that could have benefited somebody. And so you got your start. You came down to Jacksonville. You're from New York. How did you get your start in social media strategy?
Okay, so I'll give you guys the abbreviated story.
Yeah.
So I came to Jacksonville from New York City about 15 years ago. Back then I worked at a competitive research advertising company.
Okay.
So I had a little bit of a background in marketing and advertising, except it was print and television ads that I was analyzing at a marketing agency on Broadway in Manhattan.
Okay.
That was my daytime job. My nighttime job, I was a club promoter, so I was doing the guerrilla marketing.
You were doing the passing out 1,000 flyers to get
passing
one
around
person there,
flyers,
right?
Yes, exactly. I was passing around flyers at 3 a.m. in the freezing cold and sometimes snowy rain in Times Square, passing around flyers after I spent hours putting labels on those flyers one by one, peel and stick, right? And then I would see people looking at my flyers and throwing them in the
I've done that so
muddy
many times.
rain,
Yep.
right? And thinking to myself, wait, this is not effective. This is, I get paid according to how many people I bring to the party, right? Not by the hour passing around flyers. So this is highly ineffective. How can I be more effective? And I took my invitations online on nightlife forums where the people were already hanging out there looking for the parties to go. So that was genius to me. I just started doing that. I stopped doing the flyer thing in the street, and that's when things started to happen for me.
And what year was that in?
That was probably 2002. Okay, 2001, 2002.
So this is before MySpace. So you were using forums back then.
Yes.
And then MySpace came around.
Yes, this was before MySpace. This was back then. I don't know how many of your viewers would remember this, but ClubPlanet.com, NightClubCity.com, CoolJunkie.com, and there were pockets of communities
that would get on these websites
forums that would go into these websites, and these websites would have different chat rooms, and there you get
Chat rooms.
to mingle with your peoples, with your crowd, you know, talking about music and DJs and parties and.
So this is Facebook groups before Facebook groups.
Exactly.
That's
yes.
like, and I think that's smart that we use social media today, because I want to dive into this eventually. But social media has become that connector of people. I don't know if you remember that phrase of, like, you're 6 people away from knowing the president or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, 7 degrees of
7
separation.
degrees
Something like that. Yeah.
I know me personally, that thing has dropped dramatically.
I think so too. Yeah.
My influence in other communities have grown just because I popped on Grant Cardone's platform, or I popped on Dave Ramsey's platform.
Yeah.
Just call into the show and say my name out there a few times. And over the years, I've got random messages on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube where people saw a video of mine, and it's actually impacted my personal business that I do right now. And as I continue to grow my social media influence and content, I realize it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about the person that's watching it and they're getting value from it.
Yeah. And it takes a little bit to learn that, right? I think people like us in this generation who are just getting in front of the camera and, you know, perhaps are insecure about some things, some perceived mental limits, right?
Oh man, we should definitely talk about that.
Right. I think that our next generation is gonna find it so natural to just get on camera and do a video, do a presentation, or you know, take their message across, you know, social channels, even so much easily than we are, because we're just adapting. This generation is just adapting.
Yeah.
Next generation is just gonna grow up with
it's already
the
done.
drone flying behind them.
Dude, that'd be dope. Like, I mean, it's already happened with my kids. My kids don't use social media, but my little girl, she'll take my phone and she'll play with the filters, and
she'll go live.
Yeah, right. I posted some crazy behind photos. I'm like, why do you have like a double chin version of you selfies on my phone? And so I can remember this. When I first got into social media, it was 2005. So when MySpace was back. This is when you were uploading you're personalizing your page, your top 8, and then the top 90 something comments. You put your video on there, and this is where
your playlist.
Yeah, your playlist.
That was one of the first things that I did to pimp my MySpace, was to pimp my playlist.
What about the what was it? Where you could take the codes. It's when I first got into my first introduction to coding. You could go to these different websites and take different layouts of your page.
Oh yeah, it'll have like a different background. And
yeah,
stuff, like,
you change that up.
Yeah.
Man, I remember those days, guys. If you haven't gone back,
the wonder years.
Yeah, that was high school for me, and then I jumped into Facebook. Facebook took off, but I think my biggest influence of social media as growing and wanting me to put out content was YouTube and Instagram. You can personalize your YouTube page, put out content, put out videos, and then Instagram, I just find it, I'd rather look at pictures than a bunch of words and news feeds on a bunch of people's opinion on a bunch of crap that don't matter.
Yeah. So each platform serves, you know, its own
purpose,
and Gary Vaynerchuk says it. You know, got to respect the platform, right? As marketers, we can't, you know, think that every piece of content deserves to be
on every platform,
etc. So yeah, for me, Facebook. 10 years ago, and I told this to someone recently. 10 years ago, I did not have a Facebook account. And I remember this. So 10 years ago was 2009.
2009, right? Okay.
In 2009, I did not have a Facebook account. In fact, I think my Facebook account was opened in 2010, right? And I used to think that Facebook was for college girls, right?
Yeah,
that was my perception.
Kind of was what it started off as.
Right. Yeah. But I used to think, like, what do you mean you post a picture and people like it? I found that so funny, right? Like, people would like the stuff that you publish. Like,
right.
You know, it's a new concept that we didn't have that in the MySpace environment.
No.
So I resisted to Facebook for a while.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
And I did not enter Facebook with the intentions of being a social media strategist. Not at all.
No.
I got on Facebook to connect with my family in Colombia. In fact, I remember one birthday, one of my aunts called me. She's like, "Why are you not on Facebook?" I was like, "Why do I need Facebook?" She's like, "To keep in track with the family." And
that changes society,
really,
man.
That is really how I got into Facebook, because my aunt, who I love dearly, and I don't speak to her, and I didn't speak to her frequently enough. Something triggered inside me when she said to connect with family, right? So keep that in mind, guys, marketers, brands out there, to connect. You go to social media to connect, right? To make relationships, to nurture relationships, not really to sell.
No.
You can buy stuff online, but you go to social media to be social.
Let's talk about that, because this is when we'll actually start getting into content here. So when you are building the brands and building an audience, because most of us, if you started a brand new new profile today, or you have somewhat of an audience, which is your warm market, your friends and your family, but you have products, I know I hate being spammed. I don't know about you, but I've got every person from every different company trying to inbox me, tell me to buy this or join my company.
Yeah.
That doesn't work to connect with me.
That was me. I was that guy.
That was you.
I was that guy.
That was that guy.
I was that guy when I started, then getting into the business of selling stuff online and offline.
Right.
I was thinking, well, I'm just gonna blast people with my link on Facebook. I'm just gonna tell my friends to join my team. I'm just gonna, and in fact, that backfired. That backfired big time. So
but blasting. That's just as effective as the guerrilla marketing and throwing out the flyers.
Exactly.
That is like
exactly.
If I see another person,
absolutely,
go in my inbox. Hey, what's up, man? We're connected with some sales trainers. Dude, I've been on the sales trainer for years. Look at my profile. Personalize your message to me.
Yeah.
Let me know that you actually took time and you saw something that connected with me.
Yes.
That might give me a second thought to reply to you.
Exactly. So yeah, connecting with someone before you even pitch an opportunity, a product, is key on social media.
Yeah.
Ads like direct response, buy here now, buy one get one free, that type of ads, those work well on Google and other platforms, but not really on social.
No, okay. So there's two different things then. There's social media, and what is this other one you're speaking of, like Google Ads?
Well, Google AdWords, right?
Okay.
On Google, you'll probably find more ads that might do great.
Yeah.
Because they're direct response.
Okay.
And Google is not really about who, it's about when, right? It's more, you Google something, it's more intentional, and it's more, it's more, okay, where can I buy? Let's see, what was I looking for the other day? Okay, why can I buy some flights to St. Louis, right? So you're looking at that, and all of a sudden you see a Google, pop up or an offer, right?
Right.
On social media, you can try to sell, financial services to someone who you haven't really built a rapport with, or who really, I can't offer my digital marketing services to someone who I haven't built a rapport with, to someone who, I doesn't even know about me or what I do. So I gotta build that up.
You have to build that actual relationship, that connection, and they're gonna know who you are as a person. So in my business, I've taken my social media and my business and I've completely separated them. I don't talk about my business anymore on social media.
Yeah.
Not at least on Facebook wise, or not on actually none of them. I've taken that away because I was that guy when I first joined my business of blasting, do you want this product, on the news feed, and eventually you become spam.
Yeah.
And people are like, dude, we're tired of seeing that.
Yeah.
And they would never tell me directly.
Yeah.
But if I see them in person, they're almost kind of hesitant, like, is he gonna pitch me in person too? Like, chill, dude, I'm a guy, I'm a person, let's relate.
Yeah.
So those are two lines that that I have been very careful of crossing and rebranding myself. To give you an example, I know on social media a lot of people that have businesses will also throw in their personal views on very controversial subjects.
Yeah.
And that is never done well with business.
No.
I believe in separating those two. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Right now we're living in a society where a lot of people have different mindsets, different mentalities, different stories, different life experiences.
Yeah.
So when expressing personal belief or personal preference or personal dislike, one needs to be careful with that, because while you might attract people who are like-minded, you might repel others. As a marketer especially, one has to be
You gotta be mindful of that.
extra mindful, yes. Especially when, for instance, voicing something against not only a product or a brand, but an entire industry. I've seen that sort of mistake happening a lot.
Yeah, and it doesn't look good on you. See, I always look at it this way: when people are posting negative crap on any social media, it's just like gossiping in person. The energy is negative. We're just gonna go scroll right daggone past you, move on to the next thing. We already forgot about you. But I think it did plant a seed mentally. Dude, this energy ain't right with what I want anyways.
Absolutely. It has the same effect. Just at the same time when somebody approaches me after church or at a networking event and says, "Hey, Danny, thanks for that piece of content that you put out there. It was really motivating," or whatever.
Right.
I might not remember what it was exactly, but that person does, right?
Yep.
And that person now has a good feeling about having a conversation with me, whether it's a personal conversation or we can take it to another level. That's another thing, but it's just about how you make people feel, because it took a little long for me to realize that it's not what you say, it's how you make people feel. So same goes with advertisement, how you make people feel through words, through a video, or through an image.
And people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's exactly it.
I mean, that's a big deal. And as we move forward into a different segment, I think it's good to know who your target audience is. So you're in digital marketing, and so if you were to market anything on social media, are there certain things that you would work yourself out? So is there a difference between making a business page and a personal page yourself? Would you separate those two, or do you think it's good to keep them together?
Well, I think it depends.
Okay.
If you are in you're part of a company that requires recruiting to grow your team.
Yeah.
There are certain misconceptions about those sort of systems. So I would definitely keep those separated.
Okay.
I would, in my personal post, accomplishment, lifestyle, your why you're doing this, benefits of the product or service that you offer.
Okay.
But I wouldn't post links to my team, to join my team, or to check out my product, to receive some free samples on my personal page, right? Unless somebody would ask for it, right?
Right.
On your business page, however, and if you're you're part of a company that requires moving a product through a network of people around the world, which is a very smart way of doing business, by the way. You want to separate and have a business page talking about your product and the benefits and compensation plans and everything, and even sponsoring that piece of content, because Facebook is not showing it to everybody that you think it's showing it to, and putting some ad dollars behind it, and targeting not just your family and friends and but people who actually are inside of your target market. And talking about target market, it's not just age-wise, it's not just gender, it's not just physical location, but it's also interests, behaviors, job titles. There's so many things that are taken into consideration when picking the right target.
I think that's genius too. The way that Facebook's algorithm has worked, that you can sponsor things and send it to a direct, like if you've liked the page before and I've liked it, what I am targeting is going to go to you.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's incredible. So if you're not utilizing a business page, or I would definitely recommend you do that. But I think we can intertwine both of these using Facebook groups.
Yes, absolutely.
Facebook groups is where it's at right now. Yes. And the only reason I know that, guys, is because I had a private conversation with him months ago, and he was telling me doing Facebook groups. So tell them what Facebook groups is doing right now.
So here's the thing, guys. As we all know, every single day there are more people signing up for Facebook accounts, right?
Yeah,
Personal accounts, business accounts, etc., groups, etc. So the newsfeed is getting clogged up. It's getting crowded.
Yes.
Obviously, your messages that you publish now are not being shown to as many people as maybe a few years ago.
For sure,
right?
for sure.
Okay, so having said that, the new news feed, so to speak, the new place inside of the Facebook environment where people are paying more attention now are groups and stories.
Groups, I think, allows you to build that personal relationship with like-minded people. They have their administrators and all that. I'm part of a couple groups that are sales focused, sales training, sales, and then there's some that are just, I like to have fun. So like some of those ratchet memes, and I think it's fun to have different groups because it compartmentalizes whatever your interests are.
Absolutely. So it's social media. We go to social to be entertained. I mean, who doesn't, right? So
memes for days.
Being part of these groups that are fun and creative.
Yeah.
Will spark that extra energy that you needed throughout the day. It can't just be work, social.
Yeah.
You need that you need that space during the day to kind of chill back and get entertained or whatever.
That's funny. That's funny. Look at this one.
So and so now the more you interact with Facebook groups, guess what? The algorithm, which is getting smarter every time, is going to feed you more content inside of those groups because it sees that you're interacting. It sees that that's content that you like. So Facebook gives you more of it.
That's good, and I appreciate you sharing that with them. You just mentioned something before in between Facebook groups. You mentioned something else. Stories?
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so stories, short snippets of content, 15 seconds or your story throughout the day, broken down in 15-second segments. People like that. Why? Because I
like it.
It gives people a behind the scenes look at what is X and Y Z doing behind the scenes, imperfect, unedited video, choice language behind the scenes, whatever. People like that stuff, and so people are paying more attention to stories.
And it's authenticity, man. And that's the great thing about this thing is that these clips are not edited. These things are just straight live conversation of how we're going. But think of it like this: the stories, because there's Facebook, there's Snapchat, there's Instagram, there's LinkedIn. LinkedIn's really good for business and connecting with that. Do you utilize LinkedIn a lot on a personal standpoint?
I'm using it now more than before as my professional network grows here locally and abroad. Yes, I'm using it now more than maybe
How are you utilizing that? Because that's something that I could use help on. Is whenever I am meeting someone professionally, I immediately add them to Instagram. The reason being is I prefer personal relationships because the business is going to come. But then I'll go through there and add them to LinkedIn and add my presence. I need to be a little bit more active on there. But through LinkedIn, you've got a purpose of being there. So let's just say you're a speaker, like you are. You're a digital marketing strategist. Do you, again, don't spam?
Well, here's the thing.
How does that work?
There's a fine line between spamming and serving your people, right?
Okay. Let's go through that.
So here's by using different tools and metrics, you'll be able to know the micro segments inside of your audience who are reacting to your content the most.
Okay.
And you'll see the others who are not as reactive to your content, right?
Okay.
So some of those, when you dissect your list into micro segments, right, you're able to serve them better, right? So there are tools and systems that allow you to gather that data and analyze it.
So when you're saying these lists, because you said that to me lots of times, list.
Okay.
When you say these lists, what are you speaking of?
Okay, so in the digital marketing space, we refer as lists as your lists of contacts.
Okay, so
right?
The contacts.
So have you ever been at a meeting and they said, go home and write down in a piece of paper all the names
all your
of
friends
your
and your family.
friends and family.
Yeah, for sure.
That's your list, right? That's the list that you're building manually, right?
Yeah.
When I'm referring to a list now in the digital realm, I'm referring to those lists of contacts that you have built over the years through your CRM, whether you're taking some business cards after the networking event, and you're manually entering them into your CRM, or the email addresses of people who have opted in throughout the years to your offers online, through your lead magnets, through your webinars, etc. Those are your lists, right? Not everybody in your list is ready to buy. There are different steps of the sales journey.
Yeah,
right?
There's different funnels that people go through. Yeah.
So putting out content and messages to those people according to where they are on the sales funnel is going to be key to advance your marketing goals.
Okay. So, because you mentioned something to me earlier, right before we started speaking. There's only two things you own online, which is what?
Well, the only two things you own online are your website, right? Your .com, and your list, right? Your list of prospects and clients and partners.
And your audience and everything.
Right? Those are the only two things. A lot of people go in Facebook with that entitlement mentality where, this is my Facebook, this is my Instagram, I should post whatever I want, and then their ads accounts get shut down, or they might have Sally at the front desk running some ads for them, and it turns out that they were violating terms of service by Facebook, and then they get shut down. So your Facebook is not yours, your Instagram is not yours. You are on borrowed real estate. The only two things that you really own are your .com, unless you don't pay GoDaddy that renewal fee every year, and your list.
That's brilliant right there. I think that's one of the good takeaways right there. As you said, you're on borrowed real estate if you're using social media as your platform. So as you're building a platform through social media, because I don't think that's the only way where you build your audience. I think social media is a huge leverage point.
Yes.
But you should always pinpoint them back to your website directly.
Absolutely. Your .com, your website should be your hub.
Yeah, okay.
Your hub where your content resides, and you have your lead capture forms and everything else. Your social channels are an extension to that. Yes, and like you said, it's social and digital, they're not the only way of building relationships. You use it as leverage, but relationships are formed, right? Having conversations, being a good listener, right? And you use social for that, but you don't disregard the human dynamics of building trust with another human being and having an exchange of value,
and
right?
You can't forget that.
Right.
So let's just say we got somebody young that's watching this right now, and they would love to do what you're doing. Where should they start?
Well, if you love digital marketing, if you think that you see a lot of people making it happen online, right? Rest assured that you can too. However, it's going to take a lot of learning. It's going to take a lot of education. A lot of people jump into digital marketing and all the branches around that, because digital marketing is a huge puzzle. So pick something that interests you. Is it video? Is it podcast? Maybe you don't like getting in camera, but you have an amazing voice. You have an awesome story that you want to share with the world. Maybe it's podcasts. Maybe it's I don't know. There's just so many things to learn. Invest in your education, right? It's not gonna happen, cut and paste, click and drop. You gotta invest in your education. You gotta pay your dues. You gotta serve your audience and your community in order to build those relationships that are gonna say, you know what?
That's good.
I believe in what you're doing. I like your message. How can you help me solve my marketing problem? So number one, pick one piece out of the entire digital marketing puzzle and get good at it.
Okay, so mastering that one piece.
Yeah,
first.
Master one piece.
Okay, that's
just
good.
go for it.
And when you say education, what type of education are you speaking of?
Well, I am talking about the education that you get online. So yes, YouTube is amazing and it's free, but you might not get the advanced education that's going to put you ahead of the curve, ahead of the pack, and everybody wants to do the same thing. You got to invest in your education, and you got to attend conferences. You got to attend conferences where not only learning takes place, but a lot of networking takes place as well.
That's good. So become a master, get educated, which helps you become a master in that field. What's the third step?
Well, this is one that any entrepreneur, solopreneur, marketer, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
even if you're a student,
Yeah.
this is something you have to cross every day, and that's the believe in yourselves. Believe that you can do it.
Man, yeah.
Because you can have all the education, you can have you can have the resources, you can have the nice camera and microphones, right? But if you don't believe in yourself, at the end of the day, deep inside, if you don't believe you're worthy of winning in life, you're gonna get in your own way. So yeah.
The biggest takeaway that I'm taking away from today is that no matter how digital we become, and no matter how much we stay on our phones right here, we can't lose the human aspect of connecting.
We can't lose that.
We can't. And I just want to ask you from your standpoint, because we're in a digital world. It's not going anywhere. If anything, it's just evolving to the next step, where we're gonna freaking have lenses, and we use social media through virtual reality, and I mean that's a whole other subject that I'm waiting for somebody to come up and teach me about virtual reality or AI or artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Because that's coming to take jobs.
It's fascinating. Yeah.
Like robotics. That's taking jobs away. But what is a negative aspect you've seen come from social media and the social?
Well, I've seen a few actually.
Okay.
Well, just like you said, making relationships are built through the human part of it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, a lot of brands are forgetting that. A lot of human beings are forgetting that. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not a hater on technology. In fact, I love technology.
Right.
I'm a geek. I'm an undercover geek for technology, and use it for good, because there's a lot of people forgetting about the human part. There's a lot of people just missing the mark in building relationships, not just in business, but in families.
But yeah. I know.
Yeah. So I believe that's one thing to be concerned about.
Yeah.
Just as the one that you just mentioned, is taking some jobs. But it's also creating some jobs. So
it's great. Yeah, it's a give or take. It's just innovation is all it is.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm very cautious about, and I say I'm very cautious because I am constantly working on myself, is putting the phone down, putting the iPad down, and stepping away and actually still being in life. Do you ever struggle with that?
I struggle with it every day.
I struggle with it every day because this phone, this camera, has essentially become another part of an extension of who I am. I was thinking about it the other day. Siri, Google, the moment I get in my car, it tells me it's going to take you 28 minutes to get where you're going. I didn't say where I was going, and this thing's scary as can be. I'm just like, I guess my Siri's my boo thing. Let's go. You know where I'm going.
Soon the car is going to take you without you even telling you.
Man, that's what
Without
self-driving
driving
cars.
it.
That's what Tesla's coming into place. That's where Mercedes have come into place, getting self-driving cars.
Future is here.
Tony Robbins was actually saying this, that truck driving jobs, transportation, those truck driving jobs are going to be gone, because why would you pay a truck driver that can only drive 12 hours a day?
Yeah.
And you can have a self-driving truck.
Yeah. And it's a
hours.
huge industry. It's huge.
It's not going anywhere.
It's a huge industry. We need it. It's not
Yeah.
going away.
No, and I just find that, guys, if you're watching this, and I hope you're getting good content and value out of it, take the portion that you find value in and share that with somebody that might be able to compound on that. We don't have all the answers for everything, but we're here just to introduce to you that you can use social media as a form of making money, having some freedom, connecting with the world. And I think we'll have to do another segment on e-commerce, man.
I think so too. I think e-commerce is presenting an opportunity for people, for families to build a secondary income or a primary income in some cases that it needs to be discussed. And Miguel, if I may, earlier you asked me if somebody wanted to do what I do.
Yeah.
And this is a little longer, if I may.
Go ahead.
So a lot of people think that success are things or material things, and it's all good. That's a result. That's a fruit of your labor. Right. But let me give you a little bit of a backstory about me, so that hopefully you guys get inspired as well. Because I know the type of impact that you want to make.
Right.
It's not you know, it's not all about results. It's also about the journey, right? It's also about the grind, right?
Yep.
I didn't figure things out, you know, from one day to the next.
Okay.
From 1 month to the next. It took a lot of failures. It took a lot of sacrifices. It's taken still, right?
Right.
Because right now we're growing and now we're learning how to, you know, properly grow, you know, and serve more people around the globe, right? So it's a little backstory about my background, right?
Okay.
There's nothing really special about me. It's not. You guys are cool.
Yeah, you guys are good.
There's nothing really special about me. In fact, you know, I didn't go to college for this. I don't have a marketing degree per se, right? I didn't invest in that. I didn't choose that route, and nothing against that. If you're going for it, be the best at what you're doing, and get scholarships, right?
Yep.
So I didn't have a marketing degree. I just had an interest in creativity, and I wanted to do things on my own, and I did a lot of handiwork with my hands, with the intention that one day I was going to do my own thing. So I never undermined hard labor. I never undermined getting under a car and learning something new and getting my hands dirty.
Right.
Or accepting a job that was $10 an hour just because I was going to learn something from that job. It wasn't always about the
takeaway.
Money, right. It was about the lessons, right? And overcoming, guys. I don't know what kind of battle you're facing. We're all facing some sort of battle.
Oh yeah.
Be grateful for the battle that you're facing, guys, because other people might be facing other things, right? One of the things that I do to give back to my community, right, is I speak at maximum security prisons in the state of Florida.
Oh wow.
And that has given me a different perspective. Every time I go there to these places that have been forgotten, right, I come outside a different person. You know, I'm more grateful. I'm so much more in tune with, you know, with the free world, right? I become less entitled and less, you know,
We were talking about entitlement earlier.
Yeah, you know, so it gives me a sense of purpose, right? I've overcome addiction. That's something that a lot of people are facing. That's something a lot of people know. Somebody, you know, battling that, you know. So just fighting through those challenges, guys, that sometimes are gonna get you down. That sometimes, you know, you're gonna feel rejected if you're in sales, if you're building a network marketing business, if you're building anything worthwhile, guys. Know this: you're gonna face rejection. so just know this. You know, don't think it's gonna be, you know, you're gonna buy a course online and you're gonna be a guru, or you're gonna go to Tony Robbins' conference and you're gonna, you know, be, you know, the best husband in the world. You know, it takes dedication. It takes failures to become successful. So don't be afraid of failing. Just learn from those.
And it takes that consistency, the discipline, and those trials and taking those lessons. Like you said, I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Because people could take for granted opportunity, and as long as you stay grateful, you have that mindset of, it's not about me today, but it's what I'm becoming, and it's you keep that servant mindset, you're going to continue to grow, and that's where that content's going to feed them on social media strategy. And I appreciate you share some time with us, man.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate you.
Great, man. Where can they find you? Where can you plug them in? Do you have anything?
Yeah, well, on my Facebook page, you guys can connect with me on the personal level.
Yeah.
So just tag me.
We'll put
or on my
comments.
website, which should be somewhere around this video.
It's gonna be in the description on Facebook, guys.
Thanks.
But again, I appreciate it, brother. You